title's a smidge ironic. What do you mean, Wolf? I like irony. Now it's working. Okay. It's weird. Try to go to Streamlabs. It's not fucking working. No notification. Problem will start. Oh, failing at you. Yeah, I was fucking failing. It looks like the.
Right to go to settings.
The fuck was that? Yeah, right now I'm sucking at YouTube too. Y'all hear Division playing because I put my Xbox in here. I'm just gonna let this. I'm just gonna see what's going on with the fucking notification. Like it's borked. It is absolutely borked. I can do bounties. Oh shit, what was that? Previous. Cross spectrum antiviral. Okay. It says something about world bosses. Nope. Are people actually getting notification now? Or are people just randomly seeing the thing majigger? You saw it, okay. And this shit's fucking stuck at temper. Really? Oh, okay, now it's loading. Jesus.
Safe area detected.
It's that time again where we bring you the best music we can find.
You have new items in your mailbox. You saw on the main page, yeah. It's fucked. I don't know what's going on. I don't have the patience to mess with it other than this. Yeah, I'm probably talking too low, and because the phone is see my arm. His arm's length away, just about, if I lean back.
Character.
What the fuck is going on here? Where's that voice coming from?
Character.
Oh my god. Okay. This is why I prefer to do it on the fucking Streamlabs thing. I gotta worry about all this. But it's borked, so it seems to be working now. I forget what I was gonna say. I had stuff in my head just already ready. I do know what I'm gonna talk about, but you know, still. I had screenshots and actually Grand Ultimate, one of the comments that I was gonna make was about something that you had said towards Twan. What's going on, Heat Shit? I ain't seen you in a while, man. What's up?
Keep fighting the good fight.
I'm just trying to see what this game is like. I'm just, well, I see what's going on with this notification system. Like, it doesn't really matter. Oh no, I should be like, since the idiot likes to copy me, I need to wait till I get 10 subscribers. At least or what is it? 10 live people in the chat. I need at least 10. And I'll start. He needs at least 10. So I'm gonna wait till I get 10. Ooh, D-pads. Yeah. Equip D-pads. I'll take those. I will take those. Got some D-pads. What's up? Yep, there's 10 now. All right. Now I can officially say what I was going to say because I can't say it without at least 10 people watching because, you know, reasons. hopefully I'll get in a firefight, because me and like when I try to game and talk to folks, and it's a game that requires some degree of, I don't know, some mental faculties. I don't know. I just suck at it really bad. Unless I'm just...
You're right next to the Grand Washington Hotel.
I am.
Here we go.
Oh shit! She's blowing up, folks. All right.
Head to the service entrance on the east
Let me
side of the
turn this
building.
down. Motherfuckers are coming out. All right. So here's what's funny.
What the fuck was that? Did you inside the building? No shit. What caused it?
Grand Ultimate. I was somebody referenced one of your comments, I think in the Discord.
Fucking pay for that.
And I didn't actually see it until this morning.
Come on, low.
Hold on, let me kill it back. And I didn't know like what it was. I didn't know what it was in reference to, but I knew it was directed towards Twan. So I'm actually going to read it out. I'm actually going to turn this off. Just
Character.
why is it doing that? I don't need you to tell me that this is character. Okay. HDMI 1. All right. You like that? See how smooth that is? Thought you were going to get away, didn't you? You thought you were going to get away from it. Nope. I had it the other screen. All my tabs up there. Now. Hear the jazz. Actually, y'all want to hear what lo-fi jazz sounds like? Let me show you, or let you listen. We call it jazz hop. Oh, it's usually a mix. Okay, this is lo-fi and jazz hop. Actually, I think, no, this technically would be also, yeah, it would be jazz hop. Yeah. It is under that downtown jazz hop. This is jazz hop. There you go. So, just in case you're wondering. Okay, so let me read off a few things. So Mr. Pluto Dog's been actively trying to engage Twan, and let me like I've been just enjoying just reading it, because you can see kind of like the wheels turning, but it's clear that he doesn't like get what folks are saying. Like to a degree, I'm not, and again, I'm not just trying to just shit on him, but let me read off and give you an example. Because I read this off yesterday, and this is actually a repost. This is a repost of what was said in the video that I read yesterday. Okay, so the where Mr. Pluto Dog was mentioning that he was an imperfect person, yada yada. The whole concept of sin doesn't really apply to people who don't believe. So let me just read off the last two responses to what was said previously. Actually, no, I'm going to read off. No, I'm going to read off the part of what Mr. Pluto Dog wrote on this one, because there's a reposting that Mr. Pluto Dog did of what was said yesterday for some reason, and then Twan replied to the original post. Like if you go on his last video, you'll see it. It's like, okay, Twan, I would suggest you read what I said in line from the first post to in context with your responses beneath your earlier video. I gave my impressions of what you put out on your channel, and the only other place I'd seen you at is G's place, referencing G-Man. Yeah, I wake up early every day. I tried to answer your questions, suggestions after that, not entirely in the right order due to the way YouTube works. I generally meant that you would do well to reach out beyond little talks on your channel and on G-Man's. You did well in your last response there with a soft answer. I was impressed even with your telling Barb at the end about ex-Christian background, only to find with this video that you weren't quite able to stick the landing and leave it there. So at any rate, I still find you weren't understanding what I was saying several times. And part of that is because you take things said in the Bible to apply to the motives of anyone who is not a believer. I've noticed that quite a bit. He doesn't actually have real life interactions with people like and I'm gonna harp on that in a second, and you can tell why. But part of it may be that you are mixing in your head more than what I said into your video responses. Others seem to have said some things. When I told you I was, and this is still Mr. Pluto Dog, by the way, when I told you I was brought up in and educated by the church, it was in response to your suggestion that I was speaking from a position of neither knowing myself or God nor the community I'm from. It is not nor meant to be my bio. I do recognize a lot of the Christian I was in you, and I'm still familiar with the book, that's capital B, that guides your thinking. I didn't expect you to take that as an expression of a long ago uncommitted Christian child/youth who lost any faith in God early on. You don't know the path I've been on that extends beyond yours into life. You're not likely to either, as long as you smugly assume 1 John 2:19 really applies to the general expanse of ex-Christians. And it continues. Now I'm not now I'm not feeling any sort of way towards you as a person. You are a different character and temperament than G-Man. You didn't anger me. I'm secure enough in who I am as an atheist. I don't believe in God. It's not a choice. It's a realization. That's true. And it was a change of mind based on that realization, one that I've sought to revisit, but without finding good reason to back to the faith. Sorry. The great controversy, I love it, all capital, over theism/atheism still fascinates me, to be sure, but that's as far as it goes. I did a bit of I did get a bit sharp a few times. My reading sucks when I wake up. Sorry, folks. In response to you, but it doesn't have to be that way. Even where we disagree sharply, in part, it was to keep responses shorter, but I could have done better. At any rate, if you do want to converse further with me personally, I don't do much video voice communication. I'm more comfortable in text, and my equipment isn't reliable for video/voice anyway. That's a T-Mobile potato for you. We could do that even by email for more extensive conversation. I still suggest you could do yourself and the world more good by getting more involved in your enemies and other social media/YouTube sites than just within your community. Iron sharpens iron, for one thing. That is a very true statement. And you seem to be in need of more humane view of those who think differently. Yes, I completely agree, Mr. Pluto Dog. I'll post our history of conversation up till now with hopefully better context, so you'll have another chance to understand what I was saying. Thanks for all your words too and your assumptions. And so, okay, now I see why Mr. Pluto Dog was posting everything, so he could easily reference what was said. Now here's Twan's response. Okay, now all that I just said, all that. Here's his response. Mr. Pluto Dog, I'll apologize for any actual assumptions that are just that, in context. And he puts in parentheses here, based on what you said were assumptions. A more humane, and this is in quotes, a more humane view of those who think differently than you, ellipsis. Since I've come to the faith, I've dealt with unbelievers who believe and think differently than I do. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. That ain't difficult. And here's where he adds a little addendum here. YouTubers, I find to be fickle, changing with the wind, spewing godlessness from the comfort of their phone or keyboard, sort of like Facebook. They rage or troll from that place. And he puts a colon here for some reason. I'd rather deal with folks in real life time, and then he puts a semicolon, they are normally more inclined to have great dialogues with me because they ask, why is there, okay, what do you mean by that? And in turn, do the same when I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from. Okay, so people, so here's, like, this is the really funny part with Twan. This is the best part ever, all right? People are just saying whatever. They're switching back and forth. They're saying this, that, and the other. So he knows them. He's well seasoned now, right? Right. Okay. He's been here he's been watching and lurking out for 3-4 years now, but he's seasoned. And so his issue, my time zone central, by the way. His issue is that people can say whatever they want from behind a keyboard or phone. Well, no shit. Some of us actually go out in the public and have these same discussions. Hi, my name's Dragnaut. That's exactly what the fuck I do. So I love this assumption that this is I call it the real nigga syndrome. He thinks that for whatever reason, because he was born black and ignorant, that he is the only person able to say his piece in public and not say it in any other platform. Like he's the only person that's out there able to do that. And that for some reason, some fucking magical reason, no other person exists like that. No other people can do that. Of course, other than people who think like him, obviously. That's a little caveat. But this is hilarious. This to me, because that's demonstrably false. And he knows that's a lie. You want to know how that's? If he's been watching G-Man for 3, 4, 5 years, who else? Yes, yeah, he thinks he sees just like Tony V. Tony V thought he was, yes, that's right. He thought he was seasoned, and then G-Man got him. That happens. If he's been watching G-Man for several years, who do y'all think that he's also been watching? Anytime you search G-Man's name, whose name also comes up? So, as there's several videos of me going out and talking to folks. So no, he knows that's a lie. He knows that there are plenty of people. Hell, even Raging Atheists met Matt Powell in person. There's the whole reason Matt Dillahunty and Aaron Ra are as famous as they are is because they go out and they talk to people and have public debates. What the fuck are you doing? You ain't debating nobody. You ain't actually having like these aren't discussions. These aren't debates. You're not. You're on a platform because no one gives a shit about you in real life, right? You're not an actual important person in real life. So you get on here and pretend that you're somebody. And then, with this haughty attitude, say that everybody else is just saying whatever the fuck they want. Really, my dude? No. I don't think he's capable of great dialogue, and I'll explain why. So, I'm not a text and email Christian. So we'll have to dialogue when we can. Well, if you don't text, well, I see why, just based on your ability to construct sentences. I see why you're not a texter or email Christian, whatever the fuck that is. But you don't actually engage people in having organic conversation using Zoom or Skype or Hangouts. So what kind of Christian are you? In either case, I'll be addressing more of the things that you stated here, stated later, God willing. I don't know how you're supposed to address it other than making more assumptions about people and then just making a video from your phone and saying shit from your keyboard. Because I don't think that maybe I've missed it. Maybe there's a street preaching video where you're out there discussing shit with folks and everybody, maybe there's something that you can link. But I don't see how this is effective because you're doing exactly what you're saying other people are doing. Like it's just the irony here. But here's what's also funny. What is the other comment? Now, let's see a grand ultimate here. Keep messing with G-Man, you'll end up wanting to beat his ass. That cat will turn on you and will do you dirty. Now here's the thing, folks. He knows this. He knows this. Now, here's how we all know what grand ultimate villain is referencing here. And happy Jesus. Who's everyone? Mind you, I've watched how G-Man moves for some years now. In either case, date, time, timestamp, and what was done to him and how did he turn his back on whoever. Go. Okay. Now, if you've watched G-Man for years, you've seen the cycles, right? You've seen him flip on Christians. You've seen him flip on atheists. You've watched this. Now, he could only be watching G-Man for the last 3 or 4 years because, hell, his channel isn't even that old. But think about that for a second. If he's watched literally the worst of the retard in the last few years, and he needs evidence for this, this validates what I've been saying. He's not here to be a Christian. He's here to be a supplicant of G-Man. Okay? We can link to Sabell's playlist. He's not going to watch it. I've already pegged this dude for, and I should probably rephrase that, but I've already spotted him for the type of person he is, because he likes to put himself out there as being the realist. He likes to put himself out there as being I'm separated from the bunch. No, you a random nigga on the internet. Quit fooling yourself. Quit fooling yourself. You're not offering anything. Like, let me just play for a second here. The boring ass video. Let me just play this.
You know, have a blessed Friday, Good Friday, It's Friday. I pray that everyone plans to have a safe and productive weekend with family, getting things done, and most of all, just resting and putting your mind on the things of God. Talking specifically to my brothers and sisters in Christ. This video is a response to why did white people remake the Bible for the betterment of black people. I had to go and find the comment by a guy named Tyrone Stewart, who seems to be some type of vlogger for internet gossip and that sort of thing. And now I want you guys to hear something. Now, the question itself is pretty funny, but there's some nuance there. I'm going to read the original question, right? I'm going to read the question from Tyrone Stewart. I want you to see how it's translated into Twan language, all right? Now, here's the question. Question. Most white people have never done anything good for the betterment of themselves, and especially not us. So why would they remake a holy book that wasn't originally made in their language and text? Why would they remake a holy book for our betterment for us? That's the real fact. And then there's a bunch of emojis, we was kangs, all that sort of thing. Okay. Tyrone's response to that is, Twan's response to that was, Tyrone, with all due respect, your question is with bitterness towards white folks, highly uneducated and not factual. Irony. The first question, I'll ask you this. What primary source did you adhere to which revealed that white people remade the Bible for the betterment of black folks? God bless. A little bit of Socratic method there. So we're going to listen to how Twan understands this. This particular video is towards a question that I received on an old video. Matter of fact, my very first video. And God has a way of lining my attention back up with what really needs to be focused on. And maybe who I need to be focused on. And I believe this is one of those things. Anyway, this video is directed towards a YouTuber by the name of Tyrone Stewart, who commented on my very first video addressing the prophet, or the false prophet rather, Joshua Holmes. He asked this. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he asked, so why would white people remake, that's the key word, remake the Bible for the betterment of us, talking about black people? And that was the gist of his question. And then he ended the question with, that's fact. Basically, you know, because if the Bible was made to be against us, in particular now, like I said, all of this is speculation, but in particular, towards us, why would they remake it for the betterment of us? My first, and I commented towards them, you know, and I did it respectfully, but I also say this respectfully, and this is to anybody who believes.
So hold on. So that's what he got from all that. That's why. So there's an assumption here that the Bible has been remade so that it only benefits certain races. Well, I see where people get that notion from, but sure, where's your proof of that? Where's if you're just using historical precedent, like what the Bible was used for? I kind of see where you're coming from, but that's still not evidence that it was remade for that purpose. But here's what I find interesting. Now, if like I love these like backhanded comments that he likes to make. In his first part of his response, Tyrone, with all due respect, your question of bitterness towards white folks, well, I mean, it could just be, honestly, just misinformation. You might not have any bitterness towards white folks. You don't know that. I'm not sure why you need to like attach a motivation to somebody you don't know. But then again, he's a realist. He doesn't do that internet drama and all that shit. He doesn't do stuff like that. You know, he doesn't do that kind of stuff, folks, mind you. Highly uneducated and not factual. Look, anytime I see somebody as ignorant as Twan call somebody just, you know, uneducated, I have to fucking laugh. Like I really, it is painful to me. Painful that for some strange reason, Twan thinks that he's somehow educated. Now, I'm going to skip over my pettiness about his inability to use basic fucking grammar and punctuation. I'm going to skip over my usual pettiness with that. But if you can't so much as form a response to somebody without like assigning motivations towards them, how is that a sign of your education? Because you see, like at the second part, you attempt to try and use the Socratic, try to ask, you know, some clarifying questions here. But here's what I've also noticed: there's no response to this. You don't even understand where this dude is coming from. But you somehow made almost 20-minute video based on shit that you didn't even have information on. So what are you talking about exactly? What exactly are you talking about? Is it just speculation? Let me listen to it. Let's listen. Let's see if he's going to couch some of his criticism in speculation, or maybe he did some research into what this guy's saying, because he mentioned Joshua Holmes, and yes, Joshua Holmes is one of these guys. He's like who remembers Lord Stephen Christ? It's another one of him. Okay. So I'm not sure where this guy has indicated that he was a follower of Joshua Holmes. Maybe, possibly. Let me check out Tyrone's page here. Something about white supremacy and Jussie Smollett dancing in Chicago. There's all kind of stuff on the homepage. Something about his family, R. Kelly, Ancestry.com results, Turkey Day. I'm not sure really where. Something about Cash App. I'm trying to find where this guy has mentioned anything about the Mr. Holmes. Maybe his channels. I'm looking. Let me just Control F. No, there's no Joshua Holmes in the channels. So I'm not sure where he's getting this from. So let me just listen then. Let me listen, and maybe I might learn something. I doubt it.
You know, in like manner, with regards to why or even if the Bible was remade for our sakes. The first thing I would say is this: the Bible wasn't remade for us at all. It didn't have to be remade. The second thing I'll say is this: such a question is riddled heavily and highly in in uneducation.
It's riddled
about the history.
It's riddled in uneducation, folks. You heard it here.
Just the history of the scriptures. It's also riddled with
ignorance,
obvious bitterness towards white people, as if white people are walking around right now oppressing black folks.
A lot of context there. So there's. I did actually listen to this part, and let's say that his ability to articulate nuanced points are just Absent. We'll say that.
You know, you walk by a white person today, and they probably won't pay you no mind.
This is painful.
You know what I'm saying? You could be listening to your music, you could be with your girl. You could probably have a anti-racist shirt on, and they would just walk past you and mind their business, especially in bigger cities. They don't care. You know what I'm saying?
So raise your hand if when you hear the word oppression, you think random wanton violence and just attacks. Does anybody else does that come into anybody else's mind? Because when I hear the word oppression, I think of like a systemic oppression, like apartheid. Is that maybe that's just me? Maybe I'm just fucking crazy. But wanton violence and random acts of violence against, you know, or like I wouldn't consider like a ethnic cleansing oppression. That's in a different category, just in my mind. Like, am I crazy though? Again, just nuanced points and Twan don't go together at all. They're just, yeah.
But that's one of the biggest things I will say. Outside of the being uneducated is an uneducated statement, or question rather, is the obvious bitterness. You know, bitterness is riddled also in unforgiveness. But
just jump from okay, so now we would jump from bitterness to unforgiveness somehow. Okay,
to address it on that wise, and with me driving, I'm just going to address just some simple points. First and foremost, you can go to any black legitimate scholar, any white legitimate scholar, any foreign legitimate scholar of biblical studies of the history of just books in general.
Books in general.
Talking about the slave trade, whatever. You can go to any
a historian. Is that what you're trying to say? A historian. You go to any legitimate historian. Is that what you're struggling to get out here?
Anybody, and you will never find them saying that the Bible was specifically remade or made, or let's keep it simple, remade or made for the enslavement of black folks.
Okay. So let me. Oppression implies there's someone alive to oppress. Mass murder kind of doesn't. Yeah. That's kind of the point that I'm getting at. It's like it doesn't. What he's talking about doesn't make sense in the context of what this guy is trying to get at. But I'm not sure what he's talking about because the guy never actually responded. So how is he getting any of this from? When being unforgiving be affected by bitterness? Yes. If you are saying that a person possesses bitterness, so they're unable to forgive, yes, that on that basal point, I agree. But nowhere has this guy actually indicated that he is bitter. This is something that Twan has just applied to him. Like this is an attribute that he's reading into, and then he's jumping the gun and presuming a whole the hell lot. This guy might just be misinformed. That happens quite often, and they actually don't have bitterness. They're just woefully, uneducated. So you don't know that. None of us know that. I don't know this guy. How does Twan know? So that's my issue. So it's like Pokemon. Twan evolves to G-Man level 16, and G-Man evolves to Jesse Lee Peterson level 36. Yes, you're right. Yes. He's saying bitterness is an effective unforgiveness. Okay, so that's fine. That I can agree, expatriate. Yet here is the issue. We don't know this guy. We don't. I will agree that emotions affect one. I have no problem with that. That's fine. How do we know this? I don't know how bitter somebody is. I can say, oh, this person's salty because I made a video. I don't actually know that. That's my issue. You spending way more time, way more invested in trying to like associate these motives towards people rather than actually understanding what they're saying. The point that I'm really getting at here is that if you actually go and you look at this guy and you see his comments, he never has replied. Not yet. I'm checking it now. He hasn't replied to anything. You know, what he says sounds backwards. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna just leave that alone. I am perfectly fine with just accepting it. I'm perfectly fine. Like if he wants to say that one affects the other, that's fine. I'm gonna let that go. But how do you jump to there? How do you jump? How do you jump to okay? This statement that you're making, or well, question. It's a question in the form of a statement, actually. But how do you jump there to here, and you come to this conclusion? How you get from A to C? How we doing it? How we doing it? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
The scriptures. I'm just going to educate you a little bit.
He's going to educate
Tyrone
you.
Stewart and anybody else who thinks in this way. The scriptures were in circulation long before there was a transatlantic slave trade. Long before racism as we know it existed between whites and blacks.
Actually that sort of thing has lasted way well so as you know it here in America, the anti-black racism has persisted ever since there was another color of people that have existed. I'm not sure if maybe Twan should find one of them book learning folks and go read something, but that's I mean, go read Shakespeare. Like I don't fucking know. Hold on. People aren't really getting notification then. Dang. Right. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fake. No, it's interesting here that while talking about somebody being uneducated, I'm not really feeling very confident in Twan's education here. I like literally go read Shakespeare.
Before, America was
racism only existed between whites and blacks in America.
Finally discovered by people who didn't know it was here. So that's one thing. Secondly, the New Testament, the letters of the apostles, the Gospels were in full circulation throughout all the churches in Asia Minor, long before there was a transatlantic slave trade, long before America was ever discovered by people who didn't know it was here, long before racism as we know it or as we see it or have it in America existed.
And America existed, okay.
Long before somebody thought about using the Bible, the library of books that we know or that we have, called the Bible, long before it was used.
Anthology, but
in the enslavement of a particular people. I guess you want to say, particularly talking about black folks. So once again, I say out of pure respect, that particular question is ignorant. It's ignorant, it's bitter, it's unforgiving, it's evil. And until you get out of your bitterness, until you start blaming all white folks for something that happened way back when,
he didn't.
And maybe you're not blaming all white folks.
See that's so like this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly so he had to catch himself here. He had to catch himself. You don't know this guy's motivation. You have no idea. He could be misinformed. You don't know that. You can say, okay, this sounds like you done got some wrong information, right? I agree with that. I agree that you didn't latch on to something, and we need to look at some sources. We need to see where this is coming from. But you've gone off in such a far tangent that it detracts from what the original point is. I would curious if he could even repeat what this guy was saying, because it presumes quite a bit. It does, but he's not even responded or qualified anything that he said. So how are you going on this tangent and trying to educate somebody? And that's the thing. That's the thing. If you can't stay on topic, if you aren't educated, how are you going to educate someone else? How does that work exactly? Just throwing shit out there. You're just bitter. Well, how does telling somebody that they're supposedly bitter educate them, Twan? Please help me understand that. Because I can say you just ignorant. Does that help educate you? If that's your goal, and that's what I say, that these guys who get on here and pretend like they're somebody, pretend like they're doing something, they're not. This people like to come to this little platform here to pretend to be somebody. This is an act. Okay? This is an act. This is somebody trying to make themselves feel better. This is somebody trying to feel like this is just like the thoughts and prayers game that comes up every time there's a mass shooting. Oh, by the way, there was another mass shooting, but it wasn't in America. Thoughts and prayers. Hit T and P. This is the equivalent of that. This is the equivalent. If you can't evangelize the people in real life, if you can't converse with people in real life, you can't move people in real life, come on the internet and pretend to. Pretend to. And I say pretend to because there's no effort in this, whatever this video is, to try and supposedly educate this guy. I've not heard of a scholarly resource, anything yet to actually contradict what he's saying. Go find one of them book learning people who do the things with the words and they study stuff that happened long ago. Oh, historian? Okay, so what historian? So if he has misinformation, why don't you fucking direct him to a source of some good, legitimate information? Because if you can't do that, what use is you telling him that he's bitter, supposedly? Again, you don't know that. I don't know that. But again, he's going to educate folks. He's going to educate folks.
Maybe you're just blaming those white folks. And if that's the case, then you still got to understand that those white folks didn't have anything to do with the Bible. Those white folks who bought these black people from those black folks, and most likely Arabs during that time, and brought them over here on slave ships, even on a slave ship that many like to bring up. Oh, they had a slave ship called Jesus. So what? Got a dog named Peter. You know, what does that mean? Peter's a dog? Like, it makes no sense. But anyway.
Kind of a little nuanced point that's missed. If your religion is a motivation for people doing heinous things, why would people want to adopt said religion, especially if it was inflicted upon your people? Right? Like that again, this is why I have to laugh at people who follow like the Jersey retard. If y'all have noticed something, because I'm not gonna listen to this whole fucking video. Like I can only deal with so much retardation in a day. If y'all notice something, do y'all notice a pattern of people who follow behind him? And I'm specifically referring to the Jersey Tard. Do they seem all that well educated or just bright in any way, shape, or form to y'all? You have noticed that? They all seem a little bit insecure with themselves. Maybe it's just me, but I've started to notice you don't see people who actually have education in the Bible, like formal education in the Bible. Do you really see any of them following behind like shit like this? Have y'all noticed that? Any of the folks, and I'm going to, because he left me a message the other day, the folks from Reasons to Believe who actually have degrees and shit and actually engage people, why don't they follow behind G-Tard? People, Shield Squad, SOG, they still fuck with him? No. Vocab Malone, I think, has a master's degree in theology. No, not really. Michael Heisner, well, we've already seen what happened when General Han Solo brought him up. No, so like anyone who's actually educated, the stuff that they claim to believe, they're not a part of that. So what does he instead? What does he do? What does he do? He surrounds himself with the lowest of the low, the fucking bottom of the barrel ass, uneducated motherfuckers he could find. They just need to do one thing: suck that dick. You gotta suck that G-man dick, and you are good. You're getting into heaven. You are good, baby. Baby, you are good. You suck that G dick, and Jesus will love you forever. That's it. It's not about, even Matt Slick, thank you for reminding me. Even Matt Slick won't fuck with G-Man. But these dudes will. And you see exactly how they're able to handle themselves when they're talking to other people. You see, like this right here, there's not even 8 minutes of a fucking travesty. He's unable to actually ascertain what this guy's saying because he's not interested. If I'm interested in actually engaging someone, I might want to know what they believe. If you've asked the guy a question, he's not responded. So your first response, again, this is masterful. This guy is touched and blessed by a deity, mind you. He has been blessed by a deity. Okay, he has something special nobody else has. Keep that in mind. But for whatever reason, this being touched, this being blessed, this being sanctified and being a saint and all this other bullshit, he can't seem to form a cogent argument against somebody who disagrees with him. That very, very basic thing. He can't seem to muster the ability to comprehend what someone's saying, repeat it back to them, and offer a response that's in context with what was said. Have y'all noticed that? Have y'all noticed a trend amongst certain people who surround themselves with the Jersey Tard, you know? Yeah. Has anyone noticed that? I've noticed that. Maybe it's just me. But this, whatever this is, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely. And a lot of you are right. A lot of these dudes aren't worth our time. But I think it stands to say that I find it interesting. Just me personally, I find it interesting that these are the people who are claiming to have the keys to unlock whatever's going on in someone's life, and to, oh, if you just follow these steps, this will somehow edify you. This will somehow change your life. If you are less than me, why would I follow you? And let me qualify that statement. If I can respond to what people are saying, understand what they're saying, mind you, and comprehend it fully, or just even 90% of what they're saying, and respond to it, I'm better than you. If I can have the patience to engage people on any platform, I'm better than you. And when I say I mean every other person with an IQ over 60. All right? That's what I find interesting. These are the same folks who claim to possess the keys to life in general, just life and the afterlife in a lot of cases. Why would I follow your terrible example? As a non-believer, why should I feel compelled to lower myself to your standard? My life has grown exponentially since I shed religion. And in fact, it continues to grow the more I concentrate on other things. So why would I go backwards? That's not to say that that happens for everyone. Your choices may vary. Your experiences may vary. But for me, it's the polar opposite of what people claim. People claim, oh, I became a Christian and my life became exponentially better, and I started being less depressed, and good things started happening for me, and yeah, it's the same. I've heard it, and I believe it. I don't think they're lying at all. Those things were probably going to happen anyway, but sure. But I don't attribute my good fortune to me not believing anything. There's a difference. There's a huge difference there. So why would I regress my mind, regress my mentality to that, to any of these losers that we talk to? And I can't even say talk at, because mind you, they can only comprehend a fraction of what's actually said. And that's exactly what this whole video is. And he can be as upset and haughty as he wants to be, but people can go and read this themselves. You can go and see. I'm not making any of this stuff up. The dude asked a question. The question presumes a whole the hell lot that I don't even agree with. But then you ask the guy a question, he doesn't respond yet. He probably has a job or some shit. But then you make a video going after him based on nothing that he's actually said, based on presumptions you've made while you're trying to criticize him for making presumptions. Like, how does the irony not slap you in the face? He's hopped up on Jesus juice, that's why. I tell you, but Jesus juice will make you immune to hypocrisy. I tell you, you cannot be a hypocrite and a Christian. You can't be both. If you're a Christian, you can't be a hypocrite. Proof in the pudding. Well, let me listen to a little bit more of this, because I'm pretty sure this will get a little bit better.
With all that being said, white people had nothing to do with the and I say white people in general because that's how the question was asked. White people in general have had nothing to do with the concocting of the scriptures. The scriptures were already there. The Bible was already in full circulation. Matter of fact, if you look history up even more, if the Bible was already put together way before there was a council of Nicaea in any way, shape, form, or fashion. The Bible, and I did a particular video on this before. It's called Marcionism. The Bible, or the library of books, that is ultimately called the Bible. There were books.
Yeah, if you look up history, yeah. I believe
there were books that were in circulation. There were letters that was.
Look, he's gonna educate you, okay?
That were in circulation that were considered even equal, closely equal, if not equal with Scripture. You see this in Peter's letter, his second letter, or whatnot, talking about Paul and how Paul's words are often hard to understand if you don't understand the Scriptures themselves. And they were made in response, if you will. They were made in response to a man by the name of Marcion, who himself, I think, was a priest of sorts, or considered.
Could have been a sorcerer.
He was considered a Christian,
warlock,
very devout Christian, but he didn't like the God of the Old Testament. He viewed the God of the Old Testament as vile and corrupt and like atheists like to say, immoral and unforgiving and wrathful and full of hate and all that stuff like that, right? And he was the first one that concocted his own version, or I guess you gotta say, to keep it simple, he concocted his own Bible, his own library of books that he like, and even with Paul's writings, he would take like things about hell. He would take things about hell out. All he wanted was love and other stuff, kind of like people today. You know, they don't want to talk about the wrath of God. They don't want to talk about the judgment and the justice of God. They don't want to talk about, you know, the judgment of God, even with regards to Satan and his angels and stuff like that, going to hell and then the lake of fire. They don't want to talk about that. They have selective hearing. So they love reading these scriptures. And you got people like that today who think that the Old Testament is just totally wicked. You know what I'm saying? Totally wicked.
So you mean that there are Christians who pick and choose what scriptures in the Bible that are more meaningful? Yeah, well, let's take that a step further. How about this, folks? How about this? I'm willing to place a bet, a wager, if you will. Who remembers the last little upset Shanny and G-Tart had? Who remembers that? Y'all remember what like precipitated all that? The long hair? Now, we pointed out a few things. Things G-Tart loves pointing out, like homosexuality, but he won't really point out things that even he has issues with among his little circle of dick suckers. Looking at you, True. Why didn't he press that? Because he pressed Jade for quite a bit. A lot of pushback. But I wonder, if I started defending True and his long hair, would he push back and make True cut his hair? Or disown him and he would no longer be his favorite dick sucker? I don't know. I'm wondering what Twan would do. Are we going to talk about Ken Jones' obvious gluttony? I mean, obvious. Man has bigger titties than me. I can hear him now breathing hard at Krispy Kreme opening up. Are we going to talk about that? What sins are we going to focus on? Because it's easy to tell. You can just look. It's really easy to see where G-Man puts his focus in. And ironically enough, the same guy who struggled with homosexual thoughts is talking about homosexuality. But why are we going to talk about that? Because, yeah, you can mention how fat my ass is. I have no problem. I'm going to go for a walk in a minute anyway. But, man, why aren't these directed at some of his friends? It's almost like it's almost like in exchange for sucking the G dick, you get immunity. It's almost like, what were those things called? Oh, indulgences. You get to have a G indulgence in a sense. But that's just me. That's how I perceive things. May not be the case. That may not be the case. But that's the way I kind of look at it. And I just, oops. Mike's gonna be mad. I just broke this. I was playing with it and I broke it. Oops.
But then when people way more smarter than me and way more educated.
Drag, they believe in God and then God forgives anything they do, don't you know? Oh, that's right. You just do fucked up things and then you get forgiven. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. No, you do something fucked up. It depends on what it is. I don't like to leave that sort of thing up to the will of a deity that can't fucking speak. So I would prefer to make my own decisions on who gets forgiven, and I'm trying to fix it, and do that on my own. I don't need an arbiter for my forgiveness. I'm pretty good at doing that on my own as an adult. Fuck, as an adult. Yeah, just hit me up after your nap, Xavier.
Educated and scholarly than myself, expose that lie and expose the history of that mindset. You know what I'm saying?
You don't even know what the
some
guy
people
thinks.
will turn, some people don't.
How do you expose something you don't know about?
That's what hearts are revealed. But
you're a fucking inquisitor now, like you, like this is. I have to like if there is one like bit of advice I would have to like give Christians. I know, take that with a grain of salt. Well, I fixed it. Like stop pretending like you have magical powers like that. If there's one thing that I love about a lot of Christians is that, and you hear Veckel talk about this a lot. Well, used to back when he wasn't such a bitch. He thinks that he has magical powers. I'm not joking. He really thinks like I've heard the gift of discernment. The Clipper is the best Rubik's Cube ever for a simpleton. There's the gift of discernment. There's another gift that gets mentioned quite often. I can't remember what it is, but I know that's one. And so the gift of discernment is always associated with the least perceptive motherfucker out there. I don't know what it is. It just maybe it's just me. But I'm like, you have the gift of discernment, bitch. Open your eyes. Pay attention, get some life experiences. That's not a gift. That's a fucking skill that you hone. It's like anything else in life. Here's a question. If you keep asking for forgiveness for the same sin over and over again, are you really sorry for committing that sin? That's a good question, Alec. I don't think so. That kind of defeats the purpose of asking for forgiveness if you keep doing it. Like lying. How is discerning a gift? Everyone discerns things. Okay, so let me kind of explain and if there's Christians in the chat because there's actually quite a few Christians who watch this, quite a few that some of you may be surprised by actually. But so my conception of what the gift of discernment is that you're able to discern things just not in the physical realm but in the spiritual realm, because I was making fun of it earlier, but it goes beyond just being naturally perceptive, because I'm perceptive, right? But if you have spiritual discernment, you can see you can perceive, because see it implies that it's tied to this mortal coil. Your spirit, right, is imbued with the ability to see things, or perceive, I should say, things that are holy, perceive things that others won't. If you can see the spark within someone of Christ growing, you can tell, there's something in your spirit that attaches itself to that person, because you know that they're going to soon become a babe in Christ. That's kind of spiritual discernment. There's other examples of it, but that's a special perception, and people say that a lot of preachers have that ability. That's what makes them good preachers. They know how to tailor their message because they have that spiritual discernment. They know what your spirit yearns for, and so they'll tailor the sermon toward whatever your spirit is yearning for. So if you're struggling with you're struggling with addiction, right? So they can discern that from your spirit, and so God will then grant you the magical ability to say, okay, spirit discernment, go level 5, roll a 12. All right, you roll a 12. All right, so you get to discern that this guy's struggling with a gambling addiction. Now, good. Let's look up some. Let's open our Bible concordances and shit, and let's find something for addictions and all that kind of shit. So that's kind of what's being talked about there. But again, that's a magical fucking power. Like we can break it down however you want. We can rephrase it. It's still a magical fucking power. Okay, it's intuition free. No. But that's one of the things, and I love. It's always the people who are like the most inept, and there's a verse in the Bible that actually kind of goes with that. But it's funny to me because, man, is it pathetic. Going down for maintenance. Yeah, I figured as much.
Bible, the library books that we have, was in response to that. Because you had somebody literally trying to suppress the truth.
And
Romans chapter 1 says, for the wrath of God is revealed against all unrighteousness, and wickedness and all unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth and unrighteousness. That's what my bad. That's what the word of God. That's what Paul says. Even Paul is saying this. And as you continuously read along, and some people may get mad here, but not really worried about that.
Get mad what?
You read how when God revealed himself, people were unthankful, and they began to change. They changed. They profess to be wise, and so they changed the glory of God, and they began to focus on the creation rather than the creator. Matter of fact, they gave his glory. And when you look at Darwinism and stuff like that, you kind of see.
Oh shit, folks! He's going into science. Whew, okay, hold on. I need some water. Oh my God, I've heard him try and talk the scientificals, and man, is he way the fuck off. He is why I am a huge advocate of better education here in Texas. My God. Woo! Darwin, help me. All right. I can turn the closed caption for this motherfucker. There we go. Why is it so small? That's what she said. Options. Font size. There we go. There we go. Okay, 100%. Yeah, font was like at 25%. Okay. All right. When you look at Darwinism and stuff like that, you see that this is where we're at.
See that where you take the glory away from God. You take the glory away from a living God, and you say, oh, all this stuff came by happenstance. We evolved from monkeys, or we evolved from a rock. We evolved.
He's gonna educate you, folks. There you go. Let me replay this. This is Twan. This is now, mind you, folks. Mind you. This is basic shit that you learn in high school. Basic shit. Basic, and he fucked that up. It's the same. It's the same fucking conflating abiogenesis and evolution. Obviously, like we expect that, but man, this motherfucker's dumb. Like bad. Let me replay this for y'all. All right, this is Twan now. This is the dude who's gonna educate somebody else. He's giving an example of of people taking glory away from God. He can't even repeat what the fucking theory said. Any of them, matter of fact. He didn't fuck up one. He fucked up two. And he's about to go into 3.
And they begin to change. They changed, they profess to be wise. And so they changed the glory of God, and they began to focus on the creation rather than the creator. Matter of fact, they gave his glory. And when you look at Darwinism and stuff like that, you kind of see that where you take the glory away from God. You take the glory away from a living God, and you say, oh, all this stuff came by happenstance. We evolved from monkeys, or we evolved from a rock. We evolved from all this stuff like that. And what what you see is you see a lot of foolishness.
You damn right. We see a lot of people who had 12 years of free education get on the internet and make a fucking fool of himself. My God. I'm pretty sure my 6-year-old knows that's bullshit. Or 7-year-old, I should say. But, jeez. Like that. Again, this is a person, folks. Keep in mind. I'm keep bringing this back. This is the person who has the truth to unlock your life and who's going to offer you information that's going to somehow dramatically alter your existence. He can't even get this shit right. He couldn't take the time in his 12 years of free education to, one thing, learn how to fucking articulate him goddamn self. I'm sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine. As somebody who has to code switch in order to fucking be understood, bitch, you can do it too. Can't understand how to, or didn't learn how to fucking use goddamn punctuation and motherfucking grammar, is going to get on the interwebs and tell people that he's going to educate them and can't actually do it in any way, shape, or form. He managed to fuck up not only biology, but history. Had no actual references for any of the shit that he was saying. None. Not one time did he reference a goddamn thing as far as a legitimate, because he made a big deal about that, because this is in response to somebody. This is him trying to make a response to somebody. Didn't offer fucking nothing as a legitimate source, as he said. I'm using his words now, legitimate. Is he a legitimate source? Am I going to sit here and believe that? Fuck no. Dragnot, are you a legitimate source? Fuck no. Go find somebody who has formal education and training in this shit. Don't believe a goddamn word I have to say. I'm not going to get up here and then tell people that, oh, that's uneducated, and then offer shit like this. Like, this is sad. This is pathetic. Absolutely fucking pathetic. Drag, these folks have to believe that we think we came from Ross because it is ridiculous, and they latch into it. They're incapable of understanding was actually. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. His small brain can't actually comprehend abiogenesis. His tiny fucking pea brain can't actually understand what a nested hierarchy is. He can't understand that, yes, we are still great apes. We are part of the animal kingdom. We are animalia, mammalia, chordate. Shit. Why we still got monkeys? It's like this is sad, folks. This is truly sad. This is pathetic. He should feel ashamed by this. He should feel ashamed. If you are going to try and educate someone, the very basic prerequisite is that you yourself be educated. It's just in the topic that you're trying to educate someone on. Just in that alone. I don't think that's unreasonable. Sorry, Harambe, our king. Yes, Harambe was our king. He got his biology enough from Steve. Yes, that's a Steve Harvey. Why we still got monkeys? Yeah, Christopher Mowdy says that when you can't address the sophistication and nuance of ideas, you must reduce them to a simple narrative that is usually wrong. That's why we still got monkeys. We came from rocks. They know good and goddamn well anybody said that. But it makes him feel better. It makes people like him feel better. But for me, I'm about actually trying to edify folks who look like me. That's what I would love. That's what I'm trying to put myself in position to do. I am a terrible fucking role model, but I want to allow people to stand on my shoulders and do great things. That's what I would love. But shit like this only produces more shit. Ignorance like this only produces more ignorance. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, Little Drag has a education fund. Nobody else in my fucking family, not my family or my cousins, they don't have shit like that. But I am fortunate my son will never repeat ignorant ass shit like this because he will have an education. I promise you that. But He may be a Christian. That's fine. Be an educated one. But this, like, I would be ashamed if my mother saw me like this, being this ignorant. Mind you, my mother does watch my YouTube channel. She actually knows about all this and all of you. My mother has already acknowledged that she can't even read half the stuff I put on Facebook. Not because it's crazy, but because of there are times where I take my time and I will type out really elaborate verbal ass whooping for somebody. And she's admitted that she can't even read it. So in that sense, she is proud that I've become better than her. And I would hope so. Then what am I doing with my life? But I don't think that this dude has become much better than the people who spawned him. I don't know. I don't know his life. But shit like this tells me that you haven't really learned much. Out of however many years you've been alive, you've not actually done much more than the people you're trying to criticize. And that's what gets me. How are you trying to compel people and motivate people to educate themselves and you haven't done it? Don't crack your fucking mouth about anything in biology when you can't even fucking read. Don't try it. Because you just make yourself look fucking stupid. This is shit that I've tutored people in years ago. And I mean years ago. This is shit I'm going to probably have to TA people in later.
You hear a lot of
fucking will.
And then you look at the world that we're in now.
Yes, let's look at the world we're in now. We're in a world. Let me break some shit down real quick. Okay. Let's look at the world. Forget the mass shooting we just had. Over in what is that fucking place? Not Samoans. The other fucking people who yell. They have markings and shit. New Zealand. There we go. What are they, Maoris? I don't know. Kiwi, whatever they fucking are. We, here in America, are under siege by ignorance. People like Twan and fucking G-Tard and Beckel and these other fucking idiots. They are the ones that help perpetuate anti-intellectualism. They are the ones who, with their remedial ass understanding of hell, anything, are why children are suffering now from fucking measles. Because you got soccer moms and ignorant ass motherfuckers like this who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, think that they know better than folks who've been spending the last 20 years studying fucking viruses and epidemiology. Mind you, they can't even fucking spell it, but they know more. That's what irks me. That right there irks the shit out of me. And then to have dudes like this crack his fucking mouth about what other people know and education and this, that, and the other. But you can't even tell me how your own immune system works. You can't even tell me what you are, biologically speaking. I'm not talking about a male. I'm not talking about heterosexual. I'm talking about what the fuck you're made of. Literally. You can't tell me. So then why? From where I'm sitting, why would I want to regress my mind to that? Why would I want to go backwards to that? Or the idiot that he attaches himself to? Think about that. Think about that. Now, again, I make jokes about shoving my head up my own ass, but there are plenty of people I would love to emulate. But this ain't it. Just don't cut it. You got to be better than me in order for me to emulate you. That's how that works. That's how this shit works. And Fat Photog, oh, thank you, by the way, Fat Photog, because I got the email last night. But you bring up a good point about the end times. I will never, ever forget this. My aunt, bless her heart, who's now dead and died of brain cancer, told my cousins that they shouldn't worry about their academic pursuits. And I'm paraphrasing. That they should be focused on getting right with God because the world is going to end. Now you think about having an entire demographic, entire population of people who believe some stupid shit like that. How they would sabotage themselves Why work on edifying yourself? Why not be this ignorant? Why not say stupid shit like this? Why not be a representation of every negative racial stereotype you can fucking muster when you believe shit like that? You see why I don't buy this bullshit religion? You see why? This is the main fucking reason. I will not regress my fucking self at all. Excuse my fucking language. But it's not going to happen. Show me that I don't have to regress myself mentally, and you may have a chance. But I know that there are people. I know that there are people who are making strides in politics and science, what have you, who have these beliefs. But you know what they do? They check that shit at the door. Every single and they'll tell you they check it at the door. Why? Because they have to. It's not them sacrificing their beliefs. They know that religious beliefs have a certain realm. They reside in a certain space where they are to be relegated at all times. They just don't let it spill over into, whatever. You can't conduct the scientific method on God. I forgot who said that, but it's true. I think actually a religious person said that. But that is absolutely true. But the folks who can't keep it, relegated to that, they turn out idiots. Like that, there's not a nice way of saying that. They offer nothing but idiocy of this magnitude. So this is not a shock. And again, I've let my mother know. I was like, I will not be like that. I refuse to regress myself and become like that. Because what? We've seen the results. You think I want to be like Antonio? And we'd be like fucking Veckel, who would give his own sister poison. B17, poison, while she's dying of cancer. I'm sorry, I love my siblings. You think I'm gonna be fucking destitute and retarded like G-Man? Think I'm gonna fucking sound like a goddamn idiot trying to educate people like Twan? No. Hell no. Why would I want to do that? I wouldn't mind being Ken Jones because at least he's happy. Yeah. Oh no. Veckel decided that he wanted to give his sister B17 when she's already passed now. But yeah, he gave her B17. Yeah. So yeah, I found that out a few months ago. It doesn't surprise you. I know that doesn't surprise. It shouldn't surprise anybody. He himself consumes it. I want to encourage him to consume more because we don't need people like him. I'm just being honest. We don't. Absolutely fucking don't. You think I want to be like True? No. No. Not at all. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. I'm trying to be better than I was last month, last year, last decade. I'm not going to go backwards. That's not going to happen. Unless I fall down. At least it lasted a little while before it cut out. Let me play a little bit more of this stupid shit.
Now that when you look around, there's a lot more immorality than there was in the last 10 years.
How do you, mind blown. Okay, folks. Now, let's take a bet. Folks. There's a lot more immorality than there was a decade ago. Okay? We're going back, mid-Obama administration. Not mid, early Obama administration. Okay. Who here thinks that he's actually going to offer an example of what he's talking about? Or who here thinks that he's just going to say something and then just kind of walk away from it and make another useless fucking point? Who here, if you think that he's going to offer an example, thumbs up. If you think he's not going to offer anything and just move the fuck on, thumbs down. I'm actually curious. Yeah, so thumbs up if you think he'll give a specific example of what it is and possibly how he measured it. Thumbs up. If you don't think he'll offer anything like he's been doing, thumbs down. If you're on your phone, there's a little keyboard, or there's a smiley icon next to where where you type in and you can switch to the smiley face and all that stuff. Thumbs down. Y'all don't seem very confident in Twan's ability to back his claims. You should feel ashamed. Y'all should have more confidence. No? Nobody? Nobody? All right. No? Okay. So we're going to see. All right.
You know, time it used to be that things kind of went slow, but now we're literally inviting things. We're talking about things. Transgender children. I always bring this up. Like stuff that we normally wouldn't talk about.
Y'all didn't have faith in Twan. He brought up transgender children. I think somebody actually said that too. I think someone actually said that. Nicola actually said that. Yep. Nick, God, fucking bravo, Nicola. Nicola, you watched this before. You cheated. I had no idea. I've not watched. I think I watched like the first 4 minutes. But Nicola, you called it. Yes. Transgender kids didn't. Again, nuance escapes Twan. That's big thinking for big scientist head people. You know. Yeah.
And then you see where God changes the glory of men. He starts giving them over to their vile affections. Then and Paul writes about how, you know, God gave them over to, you know, fulfill their own lust. Even the women changed, you know, the natural use of a woman with other women and men likewise doing things which were unseemly. We see that today. We call it homosexuality. We call it,
well, hold on. He said that there's more immorality in the last 10 years. Homosexuality has existed ever since someone figured out that they could put their penis in someone else's butthole that was another dude. Like I'm not sure how that actually qualifies. Like there's more homosexuality today. Really? Okay, Twan.
That's where you get all the plethora of different genders, which is only genders, sexes. You only got 2 sexes, but you got like 1,000 genders.
Okay, so add this to the list of things Twan also doesn't understand, the difference between sex and gender. Mind you, that one does inform the other to a degree. Like I'm not gonna pretend like that's, you know, that there's no association, but there's a clear difference between what someone's gender is and what someone's sex is. But then again, how is the fact? Okay, here's something I didn't know. Let me just give you a perfect example of why Twan is fucking retarded. Okay, I didn't know what asexual meant. I didn't know what demisexual meant. Okay, these are different genders, or what people have associated with their, sexual orientation. Let me clarify myself. Someone's sexual orientation, right, and their gender are 2 different things, as well as their sex. So that's 3 different components that you can have, all right? I have met a person who is non-binary, all right, their sex is female and they are demisexual, okay? There's one of these 3 things that I actually understood up until this point, but these other 2 I had no idea about. You don't have to have the same sexual desires as everyone else. I see a good-looking woman with a nice rack and a nice ass. Bravo. Yes, I like. Some people don't feel that at all. They're not going to feel any of this stuff until they have a connection. And that's when I understand it's demisexual. But the feeling, the actual, you intuiting manliness or womanliness, that's something completely internal. I can't tell you what it's like to feel like a woman. I don't know. Even if I close my eyes and all of my genitalia is cut from my body, I'm still going to feel like a dude, even though I don't have the equipment. I can have some misgivings about my removal of my genitalia, but I'm still a dude because that's how I identify. That's how I see myself, my inner self. So there's a difference between there's so many nuances here that he just skips over. But again, this is where the ignorance comes in. This is where people who don't know shit are trying to tell other people who do know shit how to run their life and how to live life and all that shit. And I for the life of me, you know, like it's crazy for me, because if you are going to criticize the 50 bajillion genders that are out there, you can be a goddamn furry now. That's fine, right? Whatever. You be a fucking furry. Fucking weirdos. You know who you are. But at least know what you're criticizing. Know what you're criticizing. That's it. I don't even disagree that this shit has cropped up in the last 10 years. In reality, it's always existed. We're just acknowledging it. Yes, I always got jokes. But there exists a certain prerequisite for you to educate someone. First, like I said before, know something about the topic. If you're going to criticize someone being gender fluid or non-binary, know what that actually means. Because there's lots of people you probably know in your real life who just say, I don't fucking know. You've met, everyone's met someone that's androgynous. Everybody's met someone like that. Okay, everybody. I'm going out on a limb saying that. I've met people who are pansexual. They love pans. That's not what that means. But I've met people who are demi, asexual. I've met all these people before. Us acknowledging their existence and how they feel about themselves. That's what's new. We're acknowledging it now. If you've never met someone androgynous, they're good at hiding it. But it's not, what's new is that people are realizing it. It's just like people say autism only cropped up within the last, somebody said like 50 years or some shit like that. No, people have been on it. People have been recognizing it. If you read stories, old stories, old story from the people who research the history and I forget what they're called now, but if you hear any stories about Fae children, I think it's F-A-E, Fae children. There might be an alternate spelling. I think another one is F-A-Y, but I want to say it's F-A-E. Fae children, like they've been touched, they've been Fae touched, and the symptoms of being Fae touched are in line with autism. People years and years and years and years ago didn't understand the mind. They didn't understand the stuff that we do now, but they understood that these children are now different all of a sudden, and they're seeing things that aren't there, and they're acting strange. Their explanation: fairies touched them. They've been touched by the nether realm or some bullshit like that. Like it is. There's all types of examples of things that are just symptomatic of us being human and us having flaws, genetic flaws and whatnot, and us not understanding what's going on. So, but this requires, the reason I'm even able to reference Fae folk, because I don't know, I might have knew a little something about that, just a little bit. Greg, would you agree that there's a failure of the LGBT community to inform the general public as to what these terms actually mean and how people? I don't think it's necessarily their job to inform people, because that's like me saying that there's a job for white people to inform everyone about systemic racism. I might feel that way, but I don't think that job rests on any soul group's shoulders, unless you are commissioned by a population. Let's say if you are some type of like a watchdog group or something like that. If you're a watchdog group, then you're commissioned to be a watchdog for whatever it is that you're watching. That's different. But if you're just a part of a group, you're like if you're Serbian, if you're Bosnian, you're not required to educate everyone around you about Bosnian things, even though Bosnian things are shitty. So I don't think that that's very fair. And I triggered the Bosnian.
And that's just, you had a person like that back in the past who did not want the entire truth. And so he made his own thing. He had a following, per se. But then the elders, people who knew the scriptures, people who knew the apostles, stuff like that, they were like, nah, I guess they were like, nah, we gotta hurry up and, bring this literature together. Bring what we know has been true. Bring what we know, primary sources such as Paul, such as Peter, such as James, such as John, Matthew. Primary sources with regard to the law, such as, the prophets, Moses, all them.
Yeah. So very briefly about what's going on in chat. So if y'all are talking about people who demand that you use Zer and Zim and Zippy Zadu and all that kind of stuff, I'm not talking about them. If they have a special lexicon that they want people to refer to, then bring a fucking card. I'm not going to start referring to people as that. I'm not changing my entire lexicon for like 5 people I may meet in a lifetime who want special pronouns. When I say special pronouns, not different ones. Okay, there's a difference between you fabricating an entire set of pronouns and somebody who says, look, I'm transitioning, I'm becoming a female. Can you refer to me as she? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Too easy. Too easy. Now the Zim, Zer, Zimmy, Zim, Zuda, that is excessive. I'm sorry. That's me. I have no problem with trying to refer. I refer to them by their name, but learning a new set of pronouns takes about the same amount of time as I learned my first set of fucking pronouns. So it doesn't happen overnight. And that's unreasonable for people to believe that something like that's going to happen overnight. Now, referring to somebody who is transitioning as she, that's not that hard. That's really not that hard. I usually screw up 1 or 2 times within the first month of talking to them, but let's say, okay, that's she. All right, that's fine. And after that, I got it. I've worked with trans folks before, and I've been around enough of them to kind of say, okay, it's not a lot of mental gymnastics needed for that. So, but yeah, that my only issue is the fabricated pronouns, and they might not be considered fabricated, but I've literally never heard of them until the last 5 years. So, and I don't actually know anybody who uses Zim, Zer, Zimmy, Zaba, I don't know, Zyke,
and so
Zoom.
You had that going on, and that's the reason why the Bible, the library books.
LGBT community is, if anything, almost too insistent and forthcoming. Yeah, in some cases, I don't want to generalize, just because I know people who are LGBTQ and who are not necessarily a part of the fold per se, and they will at times represent the fold, as it were, and most of the times they won't. So that's why I'm very cautious about how because I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me. So, oh well, I talk to these black folks here. You must also think that I hate that. So that's why I'm reluctant to try and generalize folks in that degree. So I agree, Drag, fully, but one could argue that is what Twan is trying to say in his limited way. Yeah, you could. I could agree, Ali, to an extent. Here's where I don't want to do. I don't want to fall into the trap of where he's fallen, where he's making pronouncements about people and assigning motives, and then to have me just turn around and do the same thing. I want my assessments being exactly what I see here and what I've observed and what I have evidence for. That's why I have 3 different tabs up here with the shit that he's actually said. I don't want to fall into that, because if I'm criticizing him for hypocrisy, I can't be a hypocrite and then start doing the same thing, right? So if I'm going to offer speculation, it's going to be couched as such, and I don't want to. I want to avoid falling in that trap, because it's an easy trap to fall. And yeah, he is ignorant. He's incredibly ignorant to these things. Incredibly. As much as he talks about libraries and books, I doubt he's actually read anything other than the Bible. I'm just going to be honest.
Was you know, was put together. It had nothing to do with white people. You had black Christians back then. The Ethiopian church was the first, technically was the first Gentile church, if I'm not mistaken, that existed. Philip goes to the Ethiopian eunuch. He goes back to his people. That's why you can go to Ethiopia and now you can see a vast history of Christianity in Ethiopia that extends even closely, if not right,
I think the Limba tribe
near
is in Ethiopia.
Or on the time that Jesus was walking the earth.
I think that's
definitely around the time of the apostles.
Limba.
But they were all still alive. And so, once again, that question, such a question is ignorant. And it's riddled with bitterness. Like, that's one thing we as black people have to admit. Like, dude, we have a bitterness against white folk.
Oh,
and we still harbor this hatred for them. And it's funny how some people tell me, if I don't forgive, you know, some of us talk about, if I don't forgive, I'm going to let certain things control us. But when it comes to white people, we don't feel like we need to forgive them. And the fact of the matter is, you got to ask yourself, what do I have to forgive white people for? Because the white people today aren't the ones that brought my people, if indeed those were your people. Because some of y'all ain't come over here on on slave ships.
So I'm trying to figure out where he's getting any of this from. Because I'm going back to Tyrone's statement, which again I don't agree with what Tyrone's saying. It sounds like he's just misinformed, but I'm trying to see where he's mentioning anything about. There's nothing here about the transatlantic slave trade at all. Like, I'm looking, because I'll reread the question for y'all. Question: why most white people have never done anything good for the betterment of themselves, and especially not us. That's funny. So why would they remake a holy book that wasn't originally made in their language and text? Why would they remake a holy book for our betterment for us? That's the real fact. But as much as I'm able to ascertain from whatever that was, there isn't. So there is a notion of like historical revisionism, right? That there's a historical revisionist narrative being spun here somewhere, right? That's what I'm getting from this, and so I'm not sure where in here or how that involves it. I'm pretty sure if he explains more about however this came to be, it involves the transatlantic slave trade, obviously, but I don't think that was even close to what he was trying to get at here, because that's not. Let me refresh just in case this guy responded.
People out here who are doing it,
you know.
I even went to one.
Does he know how the current canon is formed? I doubt it. I think I said earlier, I'm waiting on him to mention like the Septuagint or something, but he doesn't actually reference much of anything other than like the names of events or the names of Yeah, he'll mention apostles, but that's about it. That's about it. Yeah, the other guy hasn't responded, so I'm not sure where he's getting slave ships and transatlantic slave trade from. He's talking about something completely different.
Some of y'all family just got here in the past 100 years because y'all immigrated from Africa. There were black people already here in America, allegedly, according to history. Even white people know that. Before the transatlantic slave trade, there were already copper-colored people here.
Copper-colored people.
But everybody want to be mad at what people are using a reason, like, and they use their hatred and bitterness towards black folk to deny the scriptures and to deny the living God and to deny Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. That people will use anything they can hold on to and that they can possess and that they feel like they can own and can't nobody take away from them.
Yeah, folks, this has nothing to do with what that guy was asking at all. Like, he's going on a rant about some. Like, look at this. Look at this. Let me show you. Okay, that right there is exactly the look of I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just saying stuff in front of a camera. Okay, just in case y'all needed to see what I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about looks like.
To deny God. And I say again to you, brother, anybody else that thinks like that. That's just an ignorant. That's an ignorant approach. It's very ignorant.
Yeah, copper colored.
Yeah,
thank you, Sabella. You call us that copper colored people. Yeah, Native Americans had a variety of skin tones. So, but someone being copper colored doesn't mean that they're inherently black. They're copper. I see lots of copper colored Indian people on campus every fucking day. Like, again, it's amazing how ignorant this dude is. It's shocking. It's shocking. Almost makes me wonder if he's never heard of Freddie Mercury, Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Twan the Stone. I pray that this causes somebody to actually go do some research. Like, Tyrone, I really hope you do go do some unbiased research. What I mean by that is, stop looking at people. Figure out if people are using pseudo sources or actually real scholarly sources.
Like
real
what?
Scholarly commentary.
Like what?
About the history. Real historians. You know what I'm saying?
Like who?
Because you even got some unbelievers that will look at you and like, that's an ignorant statement. That's very ignorant.
So at any point, did y'all hear him reference anything other than, well, that's ignorant, you should go do some more research? What? My dude, pot, meat, fucking kettle. Like, I'm glad I'm listening to this all the way through. I'm so glad. Pot, meat, fucking kettle. Not one time have you actually directed this dude toward, like, again, how do you, is this really, let me look under here. Let me see if this considered, okay, this is considered people and blogs. Because if it was considered education, I was going to fall out my chair. So let's recap real quick. The guy that he's responding, that he's trying to educate, who he's calling uneducated, has made some statements to allude to a particular narrative. This narrative is basically, there has been some biblical revisionist things happening, and it hasn't been for the betterment of folks who look like me in particular and who share my particular skin affliction. Okay, joke, but that's the narrative that Tyrone has put forth. This guy is responding to him, and in his retort, he has decided to label our friend Tyrone here as uneducated, while not offering anything that this guy can actually do to go educate himself. He's not referenced a scholar, scholarly source. He said scholarly sources. If this guy, now I want Twan to sit the fuck down and think about this real hard. Real hard. I know you probably never formally taught anybody anything, and I'm pretty sure I know why. But if the person that you're talking to has misinformation, then that would imply that they aren't able to actually find the correct information on their own. That's where the job of an educator comes in, and you guide them. You don't tell them, oh, go find a scholarly source. That presumes that they know what a scholarly source even is. This is from somebody who has spent very, very little time educating other people. Very little time. Like a few months, if you want to even call it that. You can't presume to educate someone and not follow through with it. There's an art to pedagogy, or pedagogy if you're super fucking British. There's an art to it. If the person didn't have the right information the first time around, why in the fuck do you think that they're going to get it the second time? That's where the educator comes in to help facilitate that. I know you don't know that, and I know the idiot that you follow don't understand that. But anybody who's ever taught at any point in time can tell you that it's your job as an educator to help facilitate education. Just my tip. I'm just offering shit that I know.
That's an ignorant question. Like, why would you think that white people remade the Bible for black people, for the betterment of black people? It makes no sense. Anyway, God bless you and God bless everybody else. And
That's ignorant. God bless you, though.
I definitely wouldn't mind doing another video on that a little bit more. But if you go
Please
check out
do.
my video
Please
about
do.
Marcionism, give you just a little bit more. I mean, maybe in depth, because I think I did a little bit more in depth than that. I can't remember if I was driving or not, but it may help you as well. But I also, let me big up some channels, especially for my black folks and white folks who get black folks that try to use this against them. YouTube channeler Bro Berean, brother Damon Richardson, brother Eric Mason. These individuals, Urban Apologetics is another YouTube channel, man. Y'all can go watch. Write those down. Go look them up. I guarantee you'll be blessed. Even if you don't want to believe it, one thing about it, that seed's gonna be planted, and you'll have to dive in and go do some actual research. You know, truth will make you dive in. So, once again, God bless you. You have a good day.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Just Marcionism. That's how he pronounces it. Marcionism, an early Christian dualist belief that originated in the teachings of Marcion of Sinope? Yeah, Sinope at Rome around the year 144. Marcion believed Jesus was the Savior sent by God, and Paul the Apostle was his chief apostle, but he rejected the Hebrew Bible and the God of Israel. Marcionism. Yeah, P Butthulu. Yeah, you spelled it right. There's a Wikipedia thing that I'm reading. So I had heard of this thing before, but I've never actually like taken the time to look into it. So, ooh, Joe Rogan on Leaving Neverland. I'm probably gonna listen to that. Actually, no, I need to finish. I'm gonna finish the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones 5-hour fucking just craziness. So what did we learn? I learned that that Twan is a perfect fit in the CCP. Like he is the newest member to replace whoever is in the current rotation out of the CCP right now, and is now absorbed into the DD complex. We'll call it that. Make it sound sophisticated. So Twan's filling his role. You're gonna learn today. Yeah, he's fulfilling his role as the new supplicant of G-Man and professor of Christianity, while being exactly saying like, Antoine, if you're nasty. But it is mind-boggling. Yeah, and like some of this stupid shit actually does give me a hit. Like I actually do need a fucking like aspirin, because it is amazing how much irony you can fit into one video. This entire time, succophant. This is the entire video. He's trying to excoriate somebody else who has views that I don't agree with. I don't like this weird like narrative of historical or biblical revisionism. I think it's bullshit too. But the entire time he's telling the dude to educate himself. Not one time does he actually offer anything in response. He just said, well, that's uneducated. Well, that same level of dismissiveness that he claims that is just emblematic of somebody like him, while also wanting to educate somebody. Well, if you're pointing out that someone's uneducated and you're trying to offer a response to them, first, you actually need to know about the topic. Mentioning church fathers, cool. That's awesome. Where did that actually address what this guy was saying? He made an entire 20-minute video driving, coming home, and taking off shit and looking in the fucking camera like an idiot, and did not actually address what this guy was talking about. Why didn't he do that? Because he had no idea what the dude was talking about. Well, Drag, how do you know? Because the last thing that he did before making this video was reply to the guy asking him to clarify his fucking point. Now, as somebody who's been doing a little bit of YouTube, just for a little bit, I know that if I don't understand someone's position, I want to get that position probably before I actually make a response to it. It's not anything that's new. It's not anything that's revolutionary or innovative. It's just common fucking sense at a point, at a very basal level. How do you respond to something you don't understand? Christians get upset when atheists just kind of go and do this sort of thing with them. So they're familiar with this kind of, rigmarole that happens on here. And by his own admission, he's privy to how fickle non-believers can be and how people get behind keyboards and phones and they like to just and say crazy stuff. He's familiar with that. He's wise to it. But what he's not wise to is how to respond to it. Just like yesterday when he made a whole video about how to not respond to trolls. So as somebody who's done a little bit of trolling, making a video about how not to respond to trolls is responding to trolls. Just in case you didn't know that. Just in case that didn't occur to you at some point in fucking time. But being a follower of GTAR, I expect no less. I expect this level of incompetence. And I expect just this myriad of ironic events that transpired through that entire video. I expected it. And I was rewarded with some of the best examples of tomfoolery available. So, folks, I am going to probably grab some water and just go take a little walk because stupid fucking intro. I'm checking for comments under something. I need that to stop playing. So I will let you guys know. I'll let you guys know about something really funny. Y'all want to know something I like to do every so often? Let's pay for GTAR to come to Cali and grapple with BJJ. Yeah, if he would love, yeah, I would put forward money for that. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at Sam Jiu-Jitsu Hut, and I would put money for him to do it. So I mean, if I can do it, he can do it. If y'all want to see something real funny, every so often, go to G-Man's page. Just go type it in and go down to his like videos and just scroll through them every so often. You'll find some gems. I'm not going to say what, but you'll notice a trend in some of the videos. There's a certain word that pops up every so often. Every so often, this word pops up. So he's not that bright, and so he won't figure out what I'm talking about. But let's just say that there'll be a video about this eventually, because I'm gonna tell y'all right now, before this year's over, I'm gonna catch his ass again. It's gonna happen. Y'all know I'm gonna catch him again. He knows I'm gonna catch him again. He's gonna get mad because I'm paying attention. Other people paying attention, and they're gonna. But a word of advice. Let me end this on a positive note because Twan pretends like he doesn't watch my channel. Yes, he does. You've actually mentioned things that I've mentioned. So, word of advice. If you're going to criticize somebody or something on YouTube, know what the fuck you're talking about. That whole video, you had no idea what that guy was talking about. The evidence of that is that you were asking the guy to clarify because you didn't understand. And he didn't respond. So, unless he sent you a private message that I don't know about, which I doubt because you didn't address anything that he actually said, I'm going to presume that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. So, also, if you're going to try and shout out channels, you do know that you can go and use a computer or a laptop to put the channels that are associated with your channel, like your favorite channels, on a sidebar because I'm looking at the popular channels, and these are just channels associated with yours. They're all Islamic channels for some reason, like Islamic Waz, Borga, Muhammadiyah, Islamic, Islamar Rasta, Islamic Waz. Like these are popular somehow for some reason associated with yours. So you might want to fix that because you're talking about Christian stuff, but then all the popular channels that come up are of Islam. Again, I'm pretty sure you don't know how this stuff works. Get with one of your more competent brothers, but that doesn't really help your cause. Like because this section here should be with those channels that you were trying to mention, which I didn't even remember what any of them are. The first thing I did was go to your channel and say, okay, well, let me see what these guys have to say. Let me at least know what I'm going to criticize if I'm going to criticize them, right? Research. But yeah, you're advertising Islam on here. That's hilarious to me. Hilarious. Bravo. Good fucking job. Good fucking job. A lot of workout videos though. A lot of workout. Not too many videos about Jesus. That's lats, back workouts, vertical jumps. Oh, there's one on Marcionism 101. That's useful. Abs, Komet. He has one about Komet. You just watch G-Con's channel. You'll learn about Komet. Fitness. This looks like just relaxing music. I don't know who Austin Dunham is. Some trainer. Planking. Okay. There's one video, one playlist about anti-Christian documents. Documents. I'm not really seeing a whole lot about Jesus. Yeah. You know, YouTube is for dummies. Yeah, I'm just assuming that he doesn't know. Like he's just not that well informed. That's saying a mouthful. But it's just maybe one of his Christian brothers can help him build, because he claims that he wants to expose. Like one of the things he said, he definitely wants to expose folks in some capacity. So good luck. Like you haven't exposed shit but yourself. Like you bared your entire ass. I mean entire ass. With just it displays of pure fucking asinine retardation. Like I don't know how else to describe this. Like it's not even. I want to see. Here's what I want to see, folks, because Mr. Pluto Dog has been engaging with him far more than me, because I'm just gonna call like I see it. Y'all know me. I did offer him, and by the way, there's a screen. I gotta find the screenshot first. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna show y'all something here. Let me show you this. Okay. All right. Y'all see that? Just so you can, folks can say that it never, happened. There you go. You see what it said. So he was in chat. This is what was on G-Tar's channel last night or something. So I'll offer him the same invitation if he thinks that what was the quote? He has a quote here. I just saw it. I'm not a text and email Christian. Have to dialogue when we can. In either case, I'll be addressing more of the things you stated later, God willing. Okay, well, if you're not a text and email Christian, then we have a platform. It's not my channel. It's a channel me and Nate and Emperor share, where you feel free to openly dialogue, But I think, and I'll just go ahead and say this, if he has been watching G-Man as long as he claims, does that mean he won't talk to other YouTube Christians? I'm not sure. It's his fucking broken English. It's actually hard to kind of parse out what he means at certain time. So I'm thinking he's saying because this is in response to Pluto Dog, and this is like an addendum at the end. I'm not a text and email Christian, so we'll have to dialogue when we can. Because Mr. Pluto Dog said that he doesn't communicate over voice and Skype and shit like that. So Mr. Pluto Dog would prefer just to have an email exchange or something like that. And so this is response to that, saying that that's not his forte. That's not what he does. So my response is, well, what is your forte other than making like stupid, phone videos where you don't actually like mention anything on topic of what the topic's supposed to be? So if that's the case, then there's an open invitation on the Three Black Heathen show. I'm pretty sure there are other channels too that would have him on for him to display whatever it is that he thinks is the case. But here's what I think. Here's where I push my head all the way up my ass. If he's watched the G-Tard for a number of years, then he's seen me. He's seen me on G-Tard's channel. He's seen exactly what I can do to G-Man within seconds. He knows. He's fully aware. And he knows that there's no chance in hell that he has against me, intellectually speaking. He knows that. You're going to see him avoid talking to me for quite some time until he gains the temerity to do so, until he feels confident in his ability. Because mind you, this is his own admission. I didn't make this up. This is in a response to Grand Ultimate Atheist. By his own admission, he has watched G-Tard. So by association, he knows of me. And I'm pretty sure the retard has told him all types of stories and why he avoids me now. Because even he understands. He understands good and goddamn well that there's not a goddamn thing that he has up on me. It'll be a cold day in hell before he gets one up on me. Twan knows too. All the rest of the CCP members know too. I can open up a hangout right now. Nobody will come in there. None of them. Because they know better. They know. They've known for quite some time. We even heard them admit it in hangouts where they think I've not been watching. So, but that's probably for the best. And I don't think that I'm the right person for him to talk to. I told you I was going to push my head up my ass. I don't think I'm the right person for him to talk to immediately. I think other people should probably, like people who haven't had a chance to throw their hat in the ring and have a go. Maybe like Jay Pasek, I don't think he's ready to talk to Skylar Fiction because Skylar's not gonna give him any rope. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there are people that he can talk to that are less savvy to having like live conversations, because I can tell you right now, the whole we came from rocks and why we still got monkeys, it's going to be another Jesus is Lord conversation. It's going to be another conversation like I had with fucking Spoken. He's going to make himself look stupid. Like he's really going to make himself look stupid. So it's probably best that he does avoid me. But I have no problem in pointing out this newest member of the CCP who is a full-fledged fucking ignorant. Just a goddamn star-native fool. Trying to come on the internet and correct somebody else while not knowing anything himself. Nothing. What? What did he mention? Council of Nicaea? Paul, Peter? I can mention Leviticus. I can mention Ezekiel. What does that actually mean? What does that actually mean, though? Are you really offering anything? If you don't even know the context to the verses, or barely know the context of the verses, how is that going to sink into the mind of the person you respond to? Because if I was that dude and I'm listening to that, I go, well, he didn't act like he wanted me to. First, he asked me to clarify my statement, and then he made a response video before I clarified my statement. That tells me, just me, if I was in Tyrone's shoes, the dude who originally posed the question, that he's not listening. He's not interested in actually engaging. So maybe for your sake, Twan, you could take note that on a very basic level, possibly, maybe, pull your head out of your ass. Maybe, drop some of that fucking bravado. Quit playing yourself and thinking that you know something. Stop it. Because if you are asking somebody to clarify a motherfucking statement, why in the hell
would you make a video in response to something that they haven't even fucking said? Think about that shit for a second. Think about that. It's not that hard. Even you can figure this out. Get together all your buddies and y'all sit together and jerk each other off until you figure that shit out. It's not difficult. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you're on a roll to being considered another fucking flapping mouth. Congratulations. Another failure for Christ.